This is San Jose. Here, amidst the staggering wealth of the tech boom, lies a humanitarian disaster that defies logic. We are not looking at a city broken by industrial collapse, but one breaking under the weight of its own success. With over 65,000 residents living without permanent shelter and property crime rates that leave neighborhoods on edge, San Jose has become the epicenter of modern American tragedy. This is a story of how the richest city in the United States became ground zero for a crisis of poverty, homelessness, and crime that threatens to tear its social fabric apart. The unhoused reality. The most visible scar of this economic fracture is the exploding homelessness crisis. According to the comprehensive 2024 point-in-time count, the city of San Jose alone was home to approximately 65,340 homeless individuals, a number that feeds into a countywide total of nearly 78,000 people. But the raw totals only scratch the surface of the humanitarian failure. The truly shocking statistic is the unsheltered rate. Unlike New York City, where the vast majority of the homeless population is housed in temporary shelters, San Jose faces an outdoor crisis. In recent comprehensive counts, nearly 75% of the homeless population in this region was unsheltered, living in tents, vehicles, or makeshift structures. This crisis manifests physically along the city's waterways and parks. The Guadalupe River Trail, once envisioned as a scenic recreational corridor, has periodically transformed into one of the largest informal settlements in the state. Here, the data becomes human. Vietnam veterans, former construction workers, and elderly residents displaced by rent hikes exist in conditions that the United Nations has previously compared to refugee camps. The demographic data of this population is equally telling and tragic. We see a disproportionate number of long-term residents. Contrary to myth that homeless people migrate to California for the weather, county data consistently shows that the vast majority of San Jose's unhoused population live in Santa Clara County before losing their homes. They are not strangers. They are the displaced neighbors of the tech elite. The safety perception, crime statistics. Parallel to the housing emergency is the growing anxiety surrounding public safety. The narrative of crime in San Jose is complex and often misunderstood. If we look strictly at violent crime, San Jose remains statistically safer than many of its peers. With a violent crime rate of approximately 13.07 incidents per 1,000 residents, it ranks far below cities like Oakland, Stockton, or even Los Angeles. You are statistically less likely to be physically attacked here than in many other major U.S. urban centers. However, this safety statistic offers little comfort to residents facing a different kind of lawlessness. The crisis in San Jose is defined by property crime. The data reveals a property crime rate of roughly 45.88 per 1,000 residents. While this is moderate compared to the astronomical rates in San Francisco or Oakland, it represents a pervasive quality of life issue that erodes trust in the city. Burglary, motor vehicle theft, and larceny are common. Small business owners report broken windows and shoplifting with alarming frequency. Costs that are often passed down to consumers or result in businesses closing their doors entirely. This survival crime, often linked to the desperation of poverty and addiction found in the encampments, creates a cycle of resentment. Residents feel unprotected, and the unhoused are often scapegoated for every instance of disorder, further polarizing the community. The police force, struggling with staffing shortages relative to the population size, often finds itself playing a game of whack-a-mole with property offenses that are symptoms of the deeper socioeconomic rot. The golden cage, the economic paradox. To truly understand the crisis gripping San Jose, one must first look at the deceptive nature of its economic statistics. On paper, San Jose appears to be a utopia of prosperity. The data paints a picture of affluence, a median household income of roughly $141,600, and an official poverty rate that sits deceptively low at around 8%. In almost any other American metropolis, these numbers would indicate a thriving, egalitarian society. However, in the warped economic gravity of the Bay Area, these statistics hide a brutal truth. The poverty line here is a mirage. When the average rent for a modest two-bedroom apartment hovers near $3,000 a month and the median home price exceeds $1.3 million, an annual salary of $100,000, a fortune in the Midwest, can leave a family living paycheck to paycheck in Silicon Valley. This economic pressure cooker has created a new class of the working poor. Teachers, service workers, and laborers who service the tech giants but cannot afford to live among them. The disparity is visceral. While tech campuses offer free gourmet meals and nap pods, thousands of residents are one missed paycheck away from eviction. This extreme wealth gap is the engine driving every other crisis in the city. It is not a lack of money that plagues San Jose. It is an abundance of capital that has hyperinflated the cost of survival, pushing the bottom rungs of the economic ladder into a freefall. The city isn't dying from poverty in the traditional sense. It is suffocating from an exclusivity that has priced human dignity out of the market. The policy paralysis. Why, in a city with such immense taxable wealth, does the solution seem so out of reach? The data points to a systemic failure in housing production versus job creation. For decades, San Jose and the wider Silicon Valley region added jobs at a rate that vastly outpaced the construction of new housing units. Between 2010 and 2023, the ratio of new jobs to new housing units in the metro area was often calculated at 6-to-1 or higher. It is a mathematical impossibility to house the workforce under these conditions. Furthermore, the bureaucratic costs of building affordable housing in California are staggering. Reports indicate that a single unit of affordable housing can cost upwards of $800,000 to developing San Jose due to land costs, regulatory fees, and labor shortages. This inefficiency paralyzes progress. While the city has launched ambitious initiatives, such as converting motels into housing and building tiny home villages, the scale of the solution pales in comparison to the inflow into homelessness. For every person the system successfully houses, data suggests that 2 to 3 more fall into homelessness due to economic eviction. It is a treadmill of misery where the speed is set by the housing market, and the safety net is running too slow to catch the falling. The human toll and future outlook. Beyond the spreadsheets and police reports lies the psychological toll on the city's soul. The crisis has created a visible segregation. In downtown San Jose, glistening new high-rises stand just blocks away from encampments where fires frequently break out, posing dangers to both the unhoused occupants and the surrounding infrastructure. The environmental damage to the local creeks and the public health risks of unsanitary living conditions are collateral damage of this inequality. Recent data from 2024 offers a glimmer of mixed hope. There have been slight reductions in specific subpopulations of the homeless, such as veterans, thanks to targeted federal and local spending. However, the overall picture remains grim. The expiration of pandemic-era protections and rental assistance programs threatens to unleash a new wave of evictions, potentially spiking the poverty and homelessness numbers even further in the coming years. The crime data, too, shows stubborn persistence in property offenses, reflecting that until the root cause of desperation is addressed, the symptoms will remain. Conclusion. San Jose stands at a precipice. It is a city that has conquered the digital frontier, but failed to conquer the basic human necessity of shelter. The data we have analyzed, the 65,340 unhoused lives, the 75% unsheltered rate, the $1.3 million median home price, and the persistent property crime, tells a story of a broken social contract. This is not just a San Jose problem. It is a warning flare for the rest of the world. It demonstrates that unchecked economic growth, without guardrails for social equity, does not lift all boats. It capsizes the smallest ones. As the sun sets over the Silicon Valley, the lights of the tech campuses flicker on, illuminating the valley floor. But for thousands of residents in the shadows of those lights, the night brings only the cold uncertainty of survival. The numbers are clear, the crisis is undeniable, and the question remains: can the smartest city in the world solve a problem as old as civilization itself? Or will San Jose remain a gilded cage, beautiful from the outside, but fractured from within?